T-minus 10 minutes. 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
We are at it. It's a Thursday, and we are on the air. Daytime Sports Talk here on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, and various platforms, including 1700 Mission Radio. It's your boy RP here. Very big day. Kevin the Medium is co-hosting with us here in Hour 1. And the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Stewart Johnston, will be with us in Hour 2, today's featured interview. The big story kind of depends on where you live and where you are, because there's several today. And as we get ready to get rolling with a quick 6 show topics, we welcome Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. He's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And Kev, let me just say this. Are you excited to hear from and chat with the commissioner of the CFL today? Well, I guess you won't be on when he's on, but what can I pass along to him from you?
Oh, my goodness. Do you have 40 minutes that I can list off the questions? The biggest one for me is how is changing the field going to put more butts in seats? And you say you have all this data. Will you release it to your fans? Your fans are the ones that pay your paycheck. Release it to us.
Oh, you're going for the throat. Thank God I'm doing the interview, not you. Stewart Johnston coming up in Hour 2 as we get to the quick 6 show topics. Kev, now listen up, Kev. The big story for me, because this is what I'm seeing, the Blue Jays and Yankees are now tied atop the American League East in Major League Baseball. The Jays fell 7-1 to the Red Sox Wednesday night and have watched their division lead slip away with losses in 6 of their last 7 games. The Yankees, meanwhile, have won 4 in a row after beating the White Sox last night 8-1. So Toronto holds the standings tiebreaker over New York with 4 games remaining for both teams, and that includes tonight. The Blue Jays are home to the Red Sox. The Yankees are home to the White Sox as those series continue. And I'll just say this before I ask you how this is playing out across Western Canada, because all my friends that I see, and we have a lot of Blue Jays fans that watch this show, they're all panicking. They're all worried. Can I just say it's better to hit the skids now in the last week of the regular season than next week in the postseason because you've already clinched? Like, I don't know what's going on, but maybe they've taken their foot off the gas this week because they've clinched. I don't know. But what's the word where you are, Kev?
It's funny you ask because I was at a buddy's house with a bunch of people last night, and that was a topic. It was the CFL, which was amazing me, like CFL, and then what's happened with the Blue Jays. And I don't watch every game. I don't watch hardly any games, but I was watching the standings when they're up. I think it was on your show. I said they would have to collapse for them not to finish in first. Well, they kind of collapsed with 4 games to go.
They are collapsing. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, they are collapsing. And so I'll just say this, better now than in the playoffs. This is a wake-up call. I know nobody's going to listen to me, but I wanted to get that off my chest. Now, so as we continue, point 2, we go fast, but not as fast as, pardon the interruption. They cover more topics in less time. But I'm going to move on to the Thursday nighter in the NFL. The Seattle Seahawks are in Arizona to take on the Cardinals in Thursday night football action. I'm repping my Cards gear. The NFC West rivals each sit at 2-1. Seattle coming off 44-13 win over New Orleans, while Arizona looks to get back into the win column after falling 16-15 to San Francisco. Their first loss. I'll say this, Kev. If I was the Cardinals and the Seahawks, I'd be offended because, as you know, I'm sitting down here in Football Mad America and specifically South Florida. Nobody is talking about this. Nobody's talking about this game, the Week 4 kickoff in the NFL. What I've heard Well, all anybody's talking about is the Sunday night game. The Green Bay Packers go into Dallas. It's Micah Parsons' return to Dallas after having a fight with the owner, Jerry Jones, leading into the season, being traded to Green Bay. Jerry saying yesterday they will not be airing a tribute video to Micah Parsons, even though he spent 4 Pro Bowl seasons with the Cowboys. And Micah saying, I don't care. Of all the insulting things Jerry's done to me over the last several months, this is very low down the list, but I'm with a good team now. And my tribute will be coming in and winning. So anyways, I feel bad for the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I'm going to watch as much of this game as I can. But what is the NFL chatter where you are? I can't imagine it's about this game.
No. I mean, you know what? The people I associate with, I mean, are the NFL fans? Yeah, but they're not diehard fantasy football, sports betting, blah, blah, blah. So you don't talk about it a lot. I mean, I hear it on the radio, of course. I listen to Sirius a lot. So, of course, that's all they talk 24/7 is NFL, NFL. But it was funny because I did hear these talk about CFL with these changes that happened. So, if anything, the commish got the press talking about the CFL.
Well, and that's where I'm going in the time that we have left in this segment, and then it'll carry over into the next. Plus, we have our Week 17 CFL picks coming up. I know you enjoy doing that. I certainly enjoy doing them with you. But I did have quite a long chat with an agent on the phone last night, and he just said, I don't want to drop any hints as to who he is, but he's like, how's it going down there? How's it going that the Dolphins are 0-3? I said, what do you think? So they don't care about the Dolphins anymore. They are all on the Hurricanes wagon, the Miami Hurricanes. They're top 4 in the country and a national champ. This is the most fickle sports market. You think Calgary is, or even Vancouver. No. Here, if you're losing, they gone in South Florida. Like the Florida Panthers, if they start losing, that rink will be empty again. Just so you know, it will. So they've jumped off the Dolphins train real fast 3 weeks into the season, and they are now on the bandwagon of the Miami Hurricanes college football team. Okay, so the next segment's going to be mostly CFL, and I have a lot of fun NHL stuff to get to with Kev. But these rule changes, here we go. 2 minutes in this segment. One thing I want to ask the commissioner is, do you think he's surprised? Like, is he surprised? Would he be surprised at the negative reaction to this? I wonder.
Oh, I think he is. I think he thought this was going to go over really well and everybody would be excited about it. I didn't think he was going to. He knew there was going to be the diehards that were going to backlash, but I don't think he expected this big of a swell of opposition to it.
Yeah, well, we are 3 topics into the warm-up, and this is what a lot of people came here today for, and I'm interested to hear from the commissioner on a lot of things. I'm not sure I'll ask him your questions, just so you know, Kev, it's not 1985 anymore. You can't lob hard questions at these figures because guess what? They won't come on again. Just so you know. Like, I might find a way to massage it and say, how will these changes sell tickets? But as you saw with my commentary yesterday, I don't think it's about selling tickets. It's about moving to the next phase of CFL football. And it's funny. Yeah. I won't say any more about that. I had a lot of people calling me yesterday going, who's telling you this? You actually think I'm going to tell you who's telling me that? Just so you know, it's a different guy than the guy that told me Sunday night that the NFL was going to the CFL is going to announce Americanization of their rules, which is what it was. If anybody wants to argue that that's what they're doing, that was their own term internally. That's what I was led to believe. So, we'll continue this. Plus, we'll actually talk about the games, Kev. Wouldn't that be?
That would be
awesome. You got a big one out there again. Yeah, you got another big one in BC on Friday night. So We'll be right back. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio down there in Auburn, Alabama.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour is coming to Moose Jaw. Live at Temple Garden Center, October 17th. With special guest, Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or sasktix.ca.
Okay, going to tell you that Hour 1 is brought to you in part by The Mad Greek. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at The Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. And the text line is open. You can write us now, 902-518-3033. Experience the Western Dodge difference, local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. We've got some very fun NHL stuff coming up in Hour 1 with Kevin the Medium joining us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. We've got some fun things bubbling in the YouTube chat, like my friend Brent from Wellington, Florida says, shall we dust off the cheesehead for you, Roddy? Go Pack. I'm going to be watching my Cowboys at his Packers on Sunday night, and I said it'll be over by halftime. It's going to be embarrassing. And the thing is, Kev, as you know, I don't have an NHL team. I don't have a favorite team in these leagues. It makes it a lot easier to cover them. But I think people enjoy my love of the Cowboys, lifelong love of the Cowboys, and pain of cheering for the Dallas Cowboys. It's not a lot different than you and your Vancouver Canucks. And as far as these CFL fans go, there are some absolutely vile things being said in the YouTube chat about the Commissioner Stewart Johnston. So I'm going to tell you guys to back the F off with that. And producer Corey, can you keep an eye, please, on the YouTube chat for, vile things being said. And somebody wrote in here and said, can you please tell me when Stewart's coming on? I'm watching from work and I need to tell my boss to take off. It is at 1:15 Eastern, a little more than an hour from now, but an hour from now, Stewart Johnston will be on. Listen, Kev, I know you're upset about the rule changes. I'm not. I kind of knew it was going this way. What I'm disappointed in is the name calling and the toxicity. And it's disgusting to me.
Well, some of the changes I don't mind. What I'm having issue with is the way they're portraying it, and they have literally everybody from TSN on board with it for some reason. I'm not going to go there. And they're saying it's not Americanizing the game. It's not Americanizing the game. Well, I can't see how it's not. You literally made it an American field. You gave us the 35-second clock. Yeah, it's not 40. It's Americanizing the game. And I mean, there's not much more you can say about it than it's Americanizing the game. And we both know, we've talked about it. The plan, I'm sure the plan is to be able to expand in the US. Is that a bad thing? Probably not. I mean, this league has been stale for, like you have talked about numerous times, 20 plus years. They haven't done anything. Where's the expansion going to go? We can only get one more team in Canada, maybe, and that's never going to happen because we've been waiting 35 years for that. So where can they go? Down in the US. So, I mean, do we have to Americanize the game? Yeah, sure. But don't try to shove it down our throats saying we're not Americanizing it. And I guess that's my biggest issue.
That's what these guys do, though. They pee on your head and tell you that it's raining. Are we not? Like, again, I'm a little annoyed by all of this. Like Joe Rogan saying that he's getting pressure from the U.S. government to stop bashing Trump, and that people are mad about censorship. And what this has been going on for decades. You people are just getting onto this now. This is what the CFL owners are trying to do, and they're trying to portray it another way. They're not going to tell you the whole story. And so hang on for a sec here. John writes in, he says, they can change any of the rules, but as soon as they change the number of downs, it becomes NFL light. Rich in Edmonton writes in and he says, something had to change. Have you seen the demographics at games and the amount of empty seats? JJSA writes in, he says, thanks, Rod, and bravo on speaking up for some of the nonsense being spewed. People really need to get a grip and get some perspective. So that's the biggest thing. You were never going to please everybody. It's amazing to me that Major League Baseball found a way to bring in robotic umpires, yet not lay off any human umpires and keep everybody happy. Because there was never any way you couldn't change you could take a blade of grass off a CFL field and they'd be burning the stadium down. Like, that's the fans' problem. You can't, they will not deal with change. Like, for the love of God, that's where I'm with Stewart Johnston on. There was nothing they could do, Kev. It wouldn't send people around the bend. And that's another thing that I got a problem with.
Again, you and I, it's funny, we're such good friends, but we disagree on so many different things. This is one of the things we disagree on. I don't think there was a problem with the field size. I don't think there was a problem with a goalpost being where it was. If you had to change it to Americanize the game, then tell us that. Tell us that the future plans are we want to go down in the States, and there's cities in the States that we want to go to that don't have the Canadian field, and it's a lot easier to be able to get 10 cities in the States if our fields matches. Just say it. Don't hide it. Just say it. And I think that's getting under a lot of our skins. They think we're dumb. It's 2025. It's not 1985. We're not as dumb as we used to be.
Or as dumb as you look.
How?
Yeah. 902-518-3033. The commissioner will be with us. Could they have done anything differently with rolling this out? Because
no, I don't think.
Before you answer that, I said in one of my commentaries this week, I was impressed with the professionalism and clarity shown, the leadership by Stewart Johnston, because on Sunday, the news release came out that said, we're going to have a news conference Monday to announce significant changes to the game. And then they did. There was no monkey business. There was no mind games. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. And then just the way they presented it, I don't know that there's any way else that they could have done this. Because to me, no, I'm with you, Kev. The game, you and I understand that the game is entertaining as hell. It's better now than it's ever been. They did 9 rule changes 3 years ago. You and I were together, remember, when it came down 3 years ago. And we're like, oh, wow, this is kind of radical. But the one thing about the CFL owners, the owners do, they really know football. They know it. Yeah, I'm not sure they know marketing. There's a lot of things they don't know, but they know football. Yes. And they're not, by the way, dumb either. They're not dumb. Like, there is an end game here. And when I said yesterday that it's going to lead towards fitting that field into U.S. stadiums, then it all makes sense. and people really agreed with that. You mentioned the TSN people. I'll say this. These are longtime friends of mine, but they're getting really annoyed with the fact that their credibility is being questioned because they're backing all of this en masse, as you said. And one of them said that I was wrong and that if they're going to expand, it's going to be in Canada. Guys, you can't have it both ways. And just so you know, TSN isn't the only place that can talk CFL football. They feel like they're the only ones that can debate the CFL and they're the experts. And that's not true. And two, they're getting really upset that their credibility is being questioned. Guys, again, you can't have it both ways. I'm sitting over here telling it the way it is. And guess what? There's a lot of crap that comes with that. And I'm willing to take it. But you're sitting there on the rights holder. You know as well as I do that you have a mandate to back anything this league does. So don't get mad when you get called out for it.
If it was just one or two and some had differing opinions, then we wouldn't be having this discussion. You can tell there's a mandate there, and it says we got to back this CFL changes because it's good for us. It's awesome for TSN. If they get a new contract with the CFL and the CFL expands in 2028, 29 into the U.S., that's massive for TSN. Let's face it. That's huge.
Yeah. And so Brent in Wellington, Florida, I appreciate him playing along with this because he didn't even follow the CFL at all. A good friend of mine down here, he says, is it Americanizing it or making it a little more like the most profitable league in pro sports? Why is everything U.S. versus Canada? If you want the franchises here, America welcomes you. It was funny because I was thinking about it. The people are really nice here. They are. They really are. I was thinking about this 5 years now. I've been here, and they've done nothing but open their arms to me, this country. It's unbelievable. But Brent's right. Like, why does it have to be Canada versus USA? And then you're like Mr. Pro Canada elbows. I love Canada, and I love the USA. I can love both. But it just... Bo Levi said it. It's not Americanizing it. It's modernizing the game. Did you see that comment?
Yes, and there's a reason I call Bo 4 down Bo, so we'll leave it at that.
He's always wanted 4 downs. That's right.
He has wanted 4 downs forever.
He's been on this for a while. Bruce Rogers is watching in the Queen City. He says, if it walks like a duck, too many Americanization similarities. Just so you know, I don't believe there is a concrete roadmap for U.S. expansion. I do believe that it's being investigated. They'd be idiots not to. And a guy said, I mean, you're a longtime CFL fan just like me, as is Brent from Florida. Like, he was in Regina in the 90s when we had the U.S. expansion. And somebody wrote in here the other day, because it was a long time ago, right? Like, we were following it intimately, but a lot of people don't know. A guy said to me, why did it fail back then? 2 reasons: field size and ratio. If you change those things, it would probably work.
And they, again, the commissioner's not stupid. The owners aren't stupid. The people on the boards aren't stupid. They wouldn't have made these changes if there wasn't a plan in place, if there wasn't a long-term goal. Whether they have 5 cities, 10 cities, who knows? But there's definitely a plan in place. We had Bob Mojanovich on our show, the Hughes Sports Podcast, Tuesday.
Voice of the BC Lions. Voice of the BC Lions.
Lions. And he was the one who said it asinine that they couldn't have gotten one player or one coach from every team into this little room to work with them. Even if they weren't listening to them, it's optics. It's all about the optics. There was how many people in this room doing what they're doing. And I know we're employees. They're the bosses. We just do what they say.
Give me a break.
It's frustrating.
How many times did you ask your kids what they want for supper and then make it?
Rarely. I know. I get it. I totally understand. I've been in management positions many, many times in my career, and I didn't ask my employees when I made changes. But I never changed the playing field without asking them.
Yeah, sure.
Would they change the NHL ice to European ice without consulting the fans?
Yes.
No, they wouldn't. They would check to make sure there wasn't going to be this backlash. They would do so many
That would never happen. Yeah, that's not happen. I appreciate the parallel. That specific one would not happen. But Greg with 2 G's writes in regarding the TSN people backing these changes. He said TSN airs all the games. Of course they would back it. It would be stupid if they didn't. Bro, nobody's arguing that. What we're saying is don't get mad when you get called out for backing it. Okay, because you have to. That's what's getting them very upset there. JJ writes in, he says, I'm not a football fan. I'm a CFL fan. I've been drawn to the CFL because it is distinct. If all of these changes go through, the CFL will have to win me back. Rich in Edmonton says, these are the same people that think Gary Bettman is responsible for the Canadian Stanley Cup drought. Are you reading my diary? Because that's in our poll question coming up, which we'll get to after the break. We're going to talk some hockey. I know everybody's all heated up and want to talk about the CFL stuff, and I get that. So do we, but there are other things going on in the world, by the way. Arlen Bruce writes in and he says, ditto RP, Canada, USA. What's that?
Is there other things going on in the world right now other than the changes?
Believe
in
it
the
or not, CFL fans need to pull their heads out of their rectum and look around and realize there is other things going on that we would like to discuss. DB Sports writes in and says, who in America is paying an expansion fee for a CFL franchise? Bro, if you're that much of a numpty, these guys, there's a lineup to own pro sports franchises, a lineup to own them. Believe me, there is. And I'm not going to go. The guy that told me all this stuff yesterday actually called me this morning. He goes, my phone is melting. I thought he was going to give me hell. He wrote me on Facebook Messenger, and he's like, I need your phone number. I'm like, am I in trouble? And then he goes, no, my phone literally melted. I left it out in the sun, and I lost your contact info. I had to write you on Facebook. Oh, literally my heart stopped. Did I say something wrong?
Oops. I
didn't, thank God. We'll be back in a moment. Game Plus Television is the place to find us. Also YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we're back. Okay. Mark Trestman just called, and I'm like, I better answer this. We'll be talking later today. Not to drop names or anything, but watch your feet. Okay, Kevin the Medium. I do want to get to this NHL stuff, but we did not get to our CFL picks yet for Pump Jacks. B. Here we go. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn Steakhouse and Saloon. Before we get to the NHL stuff, game of the week was voted to be Sask at Edmonton. I didn't even vote for that. I vote for your game, Argos at the BC Lions. But let's do the picks. Calgary at Montreal Friday night. Alouettes unbeaten in 5 against Calgary. Does it continue? Who do you have to win?
I think Calgary comes out. I think they're going to come out angry and win this one. Even though it would be better for my Lions that they don't, I think they do.
How about that? Toronto at BC. I'll take the Lions. How about you?
I'm taking the Lions, of course.
That was an easy one. The Hamilton Tiger Cats at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Hamilton clinches a playoff berth. If they win, I think they're going to win. I'm taking Hamilton. How about you?
So am I. Stop copying me.
Yeah. I didn't. Our first 2 picks were opposite. And Sask at Edmonton. Riders will roll. Edmonton will not. We both got Riders? Okay.
We both got
that was
Riders.
Easy. Yeah, for Pump Jacks. Okay. It'll be fun, though. Commonwealth fall games are a lot of fun. Okay. Point 4, the quick 6, as we roll. Nils Höglander, Victor Mancini, and Philip Hedl all scored to help the Vancouver Canucks beat the Calgary Flames 3-1 in NHL preseason play last night. Connor Zary scored Calgary's goal in Abbotsford. And Luke Morrison and Ben Myers had a goal and an assist, each as the Seattle Kraken defeated the Edmonton Oilers 4-1. Andrew Mangiapane replied for Edmonton in his Oilers preseason debut. Star forwards Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were held off the score sheet while playing on the same line. Panic in Edmonton, I'm sure. People geeked up there, Kev, for the NHL preseason rolling or what?
Yes, you can feel it. You can feel the excitement starting to build. It's, again, preseason. Anything can happen. And everybody I talk to, doesn't matter if they're a Leafs fan, Calgary fan, Edmonton fan, Vancouver fans, we all think we're going to be the best. This is going to be our year. Rah, rah, rah. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Vancouver so far. So, again, preseason, but, man, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some young kids stepping up, really wanting to make the team.
Winning helps, preseason or otherwise. Yeah, I don't want to go any further down. I mean, I watched the Panthers game last night. They trailed all game. They were outshot 49-15 and won thanks to their backup goalie. So, hey, I'm following it too. By the way, from the audience, Joe Pascucci writes and he says, hey, Rod, could U Sports scuttle the new CFL rule changes by refusing to adopt them in the new dimensions of the field, such as places like McGill and McMahon? If the city refuses to pay, absolutely they could. These are very expensive changes, but I think it will be done. Ken in Mississauga says, what does Mark Trestman think of the changes? Scott in Vancouver says, Mark Trestman wants back in the CFL. No, he doesn't. It's about Mark coming on this show next week when we are debuting in Las Vegas on daytime television there, or actually in primetime television. He's a former offensive coordinator of the Vegas Raiders when they were in Oakland. So, yeah, Mark, that's what that's about. That's why Mark's calling me. Matt DeBuck, congrats on being Coach of the Week. Matt, by the way, Coach DeBuck, he says, Stu, making the CFL great again. I'll quote Hillary Clinton for the first time in my life. It was always great. Anyways, for the first and only time, I'm quoting Hillary Clinton. It was always great.
Things you would never think you would hear on the RP show.
Rod quoting Hillary Clinton. I'm writing that down. Okay.
I'm writing that down.
The poll question is for EMJ Marketing, as it is every day. Let's have a little fun with this. What's the biggest story in the NHL going into this season? I've come up with 3, but that might not be what they are. I got number 1, Florida Panthers three-peat, which for me is the biggest story. Number 2, Connor McDavid. Is it his last dance in Edmonton? And number 3, Canada's drought. Which will always be a story until there's not a drought anymore. Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup since 1993. Or is it something else? I voted for the Panthers three-peat. That's where I live. But leading the poll is the McDavid story.
Yeah, I voted McDavid story. I voted the McDavid story as well. But it's almost like a non-story. I mean, Edmonton would have to, it would shock the world if they don't sign him. It's just a matter of when, in my opinion.
Well, like belly buttons, everybody has an opinion on this.
Yes.
Scruffy thought that, sorry, somehow I have my text synced to my laptop. It's driving me nuts.
Ow.
I guess I can put it on Do Not Disturb. That's on me.
It's not like we're on the air or anything, but.
Well, who cares at this point? Where were we? I literally did just lose myself, however.
McDavid. You were talking Scruffy.
Scruffy thought this was going to be done before training camp. These guys, I think people forget, these players are businesses. Like literally, what would be the best business thing for Connor McDavid to do? It would be to play. To be honest, I don't think he's lied about anything. You're sitting there in Calgary. You're right really in the middle of this. You see it every day. He's saying, I'm in no rush. Basically, I want to see where this team is at in a year. And can you blame the guy?
One of the greatest hockey players to play the game, and he wants to win. He wants to win. Wow, what a novel idea. I mean, now, best business thing? Is it, let's light it up. Is it to go to Florida because there's no taxes? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
His contract now is worth how much more?
It's a significant change now with the millions and the no tax. It's a millions of dollars difference here. Huge. Absolutely. Okay. We got a couple minutes left in this segment. I got through most of everything that I wanted to do. The Canucks, the reason I bring up the Canucks is that they're Kev's team. But I'm not sure. The question for them is simply, do they make the playoffs, right? That's it.
Yes. And that's the $1 million question. And to me, that's a successful season this year. We had the blip 2 years ago where they went to the second round against Edmonton and lost in Game 7. But in reality, making the playoffs, that's going to be a big step forward for the Canucks. And I think they will. I cross my fingers they will, because it makes doing a podcast a whole lot easier when your team's winning and you're not getting on the air every day. When you're focused on one team, that's why I watch your show, and I just love it because you don't focus on one team. We focus on the Canucks. So when they lose every single game, you're just like, oh my goodness, what are we going to talk about tonight?
It's funny you say that because, I had a nice lady. She's probably watching right now at the golf course in Regina, the MC job that I did. She was like, I love your show because you talk about everything. I follow everything and you talk about everything. It's so refreshing. I'm like, that's what we like to do here. Believe it or not, I do know a little bit about broadcasting. It's wild.
Just a
But,
little.
you know, when your team sucks, people thought, you know, when the Riders were terrible in 2015 that it was good for ratings and numbers. No, it was terrible. We have trackable data now. When the Riders were 0-9 at Labor Day, people checked out. And that was in the Rider Nation.
Yes.
Bad games and playing bad is good for call-in shows. I won't dispute that. And hearing all the drunk numpties call in, that's entertaining shit. But from Monday to Friday, when you're trying to fill talk shows, television shows like In the Huddle, write columns at rodpeterson.com, and your numbers are plummeting, it's because when the teams win, the rising tide, right? That gets everybody on board. When they're losing, you're right. It's terrible. And it's interesting that you notice that. Ryan in upstate New York on the poll says, sorry to repeat myself, but I voted other. Will Sidney Crosby still be a Penguin at the trade deadline? I deliberated on that, but because we are anchored in Canada on Game Plus TV, I went with the Canadian-Canada drought thing for obvious reasons. Plus, I think Sid put that to bed. Kev, great job. We will see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. We will see you tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be debating whether or not I ask the commissioner Kevin's question next hour, but probably not. Don't be disappointed if I don't. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Hour 1, which is brought to you in part by CoolBet.com. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at CoolBet.com. Canadian viewers only. Sorry, that's their rules, not mine. By the way, I want to jam something in here. Here's one thing that's really funny about covering the Florida Panthers and maybe to a degree the Lightning. I've actually had this happen too. It's different than in Canada in that, and I don't know if Brent from Wellington, Florida is still watching right now or not. He was earlier, but with our Cats and Bolts podcast Instagram feed, like it's all Panthers and Lightning. I don't put that on my Rod Pedersen account or the Rod Pedersen show account. The Panthers players and staff, and in some cases Lightning, they like it. They respond. They DM. You don't get that in Canada. You don't get that from the players. You don't get that from the staff. You do here, and it's kind of cool. Like being able to sit and debate with Paul Maurice the importance of the backup goaltender position because there's only 3 other reporters in the room as opposed to 50 in Toronto. It's so chill. It's so fun. So the reason is Daniil Tarasov last night made 47 saves. Legit stole the game for the Panthers last night in Raleigh. And I put a thing on it. Go look it up at Cats and Bolts. All one word, Cats and Bolts podcast. And I put a brick wall in front of him and then like pimp shades on him. And he writes me back with a laughing, crying emoji. Daniil Tarasov, the damn goalie. Can you imagine? That doesn't happen in Canada. CFL players you do, but not NHL players. Let me do a sports update here because that's what pays the bills. The Toronto Blue Jays play host to the Boston Red Sox tonight for the finale of their 3-game series. Toronto has lost the previous 2 outings, including a 7-1 defeat last night. The Jays are now tied with the surging New York Yankees atop the American League East with 4 games to go, but hold the tiebreaker over the Bronx Bombers. Louis Varland will be on the mound for Toronto, while Brian Bale gets the start for Boston. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in Montreal tonight in NHL preseason play. The Leafs 1-0-1 so far in exhibition games with a win in their opener before falling in overtime to Ottawa on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Habs have wins over Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. The Seattle Seahawks are in Arizona to take on the Cardinals in Thursday night football. The NFC West rivals each sit at 2-1. And as I said when we kicked the show off today, absolutely nobody's talking about this game. I'll talk about it a little more next hour. What they are talking about. What do you think they're talking about? The Cowboys and the Packers Sunday night and Micah Johnson's return to AT&T Stadium and all that's going to go on. But I'll talk more about that next hour. The sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone. Collectors, listen up. Hockey cards, autographs, and fan memorabilia, all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't wait. Shop ultimatefanzone.ca. As we continue on the RP Show, episode number 1584. Let me check in with the crowd. The money for a franchise is not the real investment. This is from Coach DeBuck. I guess we're talking about U.S. expansion for the CFL. I missed something in our own YouTube chat. He says it's the development of the property around the stadiums. Look what they have done in Miami Gardens where the Hard Rock Stadium is. It changed the tax code and property values have gone way up. Stewart Johnston has the money people now. That's what the fans don't see, though, Coach. They don't understand that. And by the way, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League is coming up next hour. For those that want to know, 1:15 p.m. Eastern. I know there's a lot of people have tuned in, probably expecting to see him here right now. He will be with us in a little under 30 minutes time, probably exactly 30 minutes time, the commissioner of the CFL. And it's interesting. You actually think I'm going to sit here and grill the guy? And just so you know, some of the people that wrote in with the vile comments about Stewart Johnston have been kicked out of the YouTube chat. Thank you, producer Corey, for doing that. It's 2025. I get the concept of digital media, but have a freaking brain. Okay? I'm not even going to paraphrase or summarize what the comments were. Just really dumb. And it reminds me It's just a different time. Yeah, we used to interview the commissioners and the owners and stuff and ask them hard questions. Nobody does that anymore. Nobody does that. I remember I went to Moncton, New Brunswick for Touchdown Atlantic in 2019. And as a guest of the CFL Alumni Association and Leo Ezrins, and we had a great time. But Randy Ambrosi was being interviewed on CTV Halifax, and Alex J. Walling just pinned him to the freaking wall, man, like shoulders to the, Alex J. Walling, TSN, Halifax, that guy. And I saw Randy the next day. I can't even remember what the question was. I think it was about expansion or something like that. And I can do a lot of good impressions, Corey. I should do more impressions. Alex J. Walling, Halifax. Anyways, I said, did Alex ever nail you to the wall? Randy's thought he was here to promote the game in Moncton. And he's sitting there just rope-a-doping him on CFL expansion, which, I mean, I guess, like, I get it. But maybe prep the guy. I do have some special questions for Stewart Johnston that nobody will have asked. Trust me, that nobody will have asked. I probably will say, because enough people have written in and said, can you ask him how these changes are supposed to translate to selling tickets? I don't think that's an unreasonable question. And Kevin the Medium was with us to open the show today. He said that. I see a lot of people writing into our Facebook, which, by the way, if you just can't get enough of this show, and let's be honest, who can? Go to our Facebook, because I drop a lot of bombs there, and just let people comment back and forth. Civilly, of course. You will be kicked out if you say stupid stuff there. It's the same that goes on here every day for 2 hours, but we do it on our social media channels and go back and forth with the viewers, and it's fun. This hasn't changed either. We've been on Game Plus television for 6 years. We're in season 7 here now, the show overall. We love Game Plus. That's our jam. But I kind of like this idea of Canadian topics in hour 1, more U.S. topics in hour 2, because Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network in Las Vegas is only going to carry hour 2 every day at 6 p.m., which reminds me, our very first guest, I know I announced it the other day, but I'll say it here again, is Shane Knighty, my longtime friend and current Golden Knights television color commentator, also from the NHL on Prime. And that's what Mark Trestman was calling about earlier. I'm hoping to get Mark Trestman on Tuesday. We've never had Mark Trestman on this show, and I love Mark. I will tell you this, I don't think Mark will care. Mark was not a big fan of the media. Not a lot of coaches are. Now, this guy was the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He was the offensive coordinator of, I believe, the Cardinals, for sure, the Raiders, a lot of teams, the Browns, and the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes. And I had a good friend who worked for the Alouettes. And after he left the Alouettes, my friend, he goes, there was only 2 guys in the media that Mark Trestman could stand. I said, oh, who's that? You and Dwayne Ford. That's it. He didn't like anybody else. I'm like, okay, I don't know why that is. Other than I don't profess to know anything more than what I say that I do. Yeah. On these changes, yeah, I mean, producer Corey goes, that's probably it. I don't come across as a know-it-all. I know nothing. The fact that anybody wants to tune in on a daily basis astounds me. But here we are. Scott in Vancouver regarding this, the CFL rule changes and field changes. He says, hot topic like this wakes people up, just like on the CFL forum. Ken in Mississauga writes, and he says, ratings this week on TSN will probably be very good. You're talking about regarding the actual games themselves, I hope. Like, I didn't even get into that with Kevin the Medium, which is also fine. We talked about the things that had. Every show sits and talks about the games ad nauseum. That almost gets to be too much. We talked about the rule changes here, but the fact of the matter is these are tremendous football games in the Canadian Football League this week. And I delved into it a little further in my commentary. You can go read it right now at rodpeterson.com. Riders will clinch at least second home field if they win in Edmonton and Winnipeg loses. I mean, I don't like those combinations and permutations. Like, really, if we shouldn't care as fans. The teams need to know this stuff, but we as fans, unless you're a real diehard. I'm just bad at math, so it gives me a headache. Just call the game, Rod. Mark in Burlington writes in, he says, hey, Rod, as an older fan, I welcome the changes. The league is evolving with the times. That's what Bo Levi's saying. It's modernizing, not Americanizing. Jim in Belgoni writes in, he says, the RP show is a sports buffet. Who doesn't love a buffet? Enjoy the day, all. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. The buffet or the show passes inspection. Producer Corey says, as long as it passes the inspection, we're good with buffets. We are the Golden Corral of buffet. Where else can you go and do what I did with Moose here in Coral Gables, Florida? Moose DuPont. Went to Golden Corral. I had 3 steaks, 2 tacos, and 3 pieces of red velvet cake. Ta-da! Who doesn't love that? We'll continue this. Laverne and Swift Current says, as far as the rules being changed, I'm okay with that. I will miss the last 3 minutes of CFL games because of the sheer entertainment value. That's for sure. But again, carry on. Grow the CFL. Kirk in Toronto says, the J-Box boys, the longtime hardcore Hamilton Ticat season ticket holders, are threatening to cancel their season tickets over the CFL's rule changes. They won't. Let's not forget that a lot of people threaten things and then never follow up on them. And the J-Box boys or the Box J boys, they won't. So don't take their threats. We don't respond to threats, as I said to Luke Wilson way back when he started to threaten me the first time. We'll be back right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Spirits of Italian. Come in. Enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirits of Italian. Come in. Enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Here we go. It is hour 2 of the Rod Pedersen Show. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We're on the Game Plus Television Network, Canada-wide in 32 U.S. states. Very big program today. The Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Stewart Johnston, coming up in the next segment about 15 minutes from now. I know a lot of people have tuned in expecting to have seen him to this point, but it's hour 2. I thought we made that clear. Kevin the Medium checking in. Hey, Kev the Medium. He rode shotgun with us an hour ago. He provided me some questions for the Commissioner, as have the viewers. Just so you know, I'm not going to be grilling the guy necessarily, but I'll ask some of your questions. Certainly the majority of you asked, how do these CFL rule changes, how do you expect them to sell tickets? So we'll get to that, and we will also get to the quick 6 show topics to re-up that for you here in a second. We will have the Commissioner at 1:15 the hour, and we will have him until the bottom of the hour, programming note, and then he's got to bounce. Believe it or not, the Commissioner of a Pro Football League is kind of busy. Breaking news, commissioners are busy. But we're excited about going to air next week in Nevada. Nothing really is going to change as far as you longtime viewers, you people that have been watching the show for a long time. But we'll have some new faces joining the show. Shane Knighty will be with us on Monday from the Golden Knights TV broadcast crew, Stanley Cup champion defenseman with the Boston Bruins. And I'm hoping to get Mark Trestman on the air. So in the middle of hour 1, the former Chicago Bears head coach, longtime NFL assistant, and the iconic head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, Mark Trestman, and Argos, I might add, called in the middle of the hour 1. I'm like, Mark, I'm answering this only because it's you. I'm going on the air in 30 seconds. He's like, call me back later. But knowing Mark, he's such a tactician, and I've read his book. He's gonna want to know, why do you want me on the air? Just to talk football and catch up, coach. The guy what jogged my mind on this is Mark had said a couple of years ago that Justin Herbert is the best quarterback in the NFL. And if you go and read my commentary right now at rodpedersen.com, the numbers back that up. If Justin Herbert hits 300 yards passing this Sunday with the LA Chargers at the New York Giants, he'll be just the 4th quarterback in NFL history to have 30 300-yard passing games in his first 6 seasons. The others, Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, and Kurt Warner. That's a pretty good group. But Trestman is a guy that would know. So I'm just thinking Mark Trestman is a guy that would be a pretty good interview on the show next week. And we've never had him on this show. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. But as somebody told me that worked for the Alouettes, and that's going back to be a long time ago now, but he said, you, Rod, and Dwayne Ford are the only media that Coach Trestman liked. I got a kick out of that. But he found out, Mark had found out, just to tell you what kind of guy he is, when he was the head coach of the Chicago Bears, he found out that my father-in-law had Alzheimer's and died of it. Mark sent me an autographed Chicago Bears football by the entire team. And he goes, Rod, raffle this off for a fundraiser for Alzheimer's research. I mean, how did you even know? That's the kind of guy that Mark Trestman is, And I also remember, because when I left the CFL, I thought, I don't want to get back into it if I can't have the relationship and the access that I'm used to having. For instance, the Alouettes franchise was always really, really good to me. I don't know why. But so they beat us in the 2009 Grey Cup on the 13th man in this incident. Y'all know what happened there. We had too many men on the field in the game's last play. Blah, 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 but we went on to lose the game. It was only the national championship. Not a big deal. The next year, We were playing in Edmonton, playing them again in the Grey Cup in Edmonton Commonwealth Stadium. And I was literally at the news conference, and the PR guy for the Alouettes said, Mark's really wigged out. He doesn't want people to think that we fluked into the Grey Cup championship last year. So he's really excited that we have a chance to play you again and not have you guys screw up and beat you. I'm like, well, that's very noble. But I don't think, not one person has ever said it stained the Alouettes' 09 Grey Cup championship in the CFL because we crapped the bed ourselves. I didn't make Montreal look bad. As it turns out, they went on to beat us the next year too, 20-18, and that's scars that we carry forever. But anyway, there's a lot of things to catch up with Mark Trestman. He's just a good guy. I've read his book, and I'm sure hoping we can get him next week, but we'll find out. He's just wary of interviews. A lot of numpties in the media have ruined that for a lot of guys, but he also knows that I'm not one of those guys. My light's falling, so bear with me. So, re-upping the quick six show topics here. Well, we'll start with the Blue Jays. They and the Yankees are now tied atop the American League East. The Jays fell 7-1 to the Red Sox last night. Boston's won the last two, and the three-game set will wrap up tonight at Rogers Center. The Yankees won. They've won 4 in a row, as a matter of fact. They beat the White Sox 8-1 last night, so the two teams are tied atop the AL East. I get that the Blue Jays fans are panicking for good reason, but I don't think the Jays are themselves. They clinched the playoff berth on Sunday. Would they like to have a first-round bye? Of course. But the wild card round is very short. They'll be fine. And this might be the wake-up call that they need. I know that a lot of you don't need that'll go right over your head. But if I may, calm down. Better to be in this swoon now than next week. There are other teams in the majors, apparently. Cal Raleigh hit his major league leading 59th and 60th home runs of the season as the Mariners won their 4th AL West title with a 9-2 victory over the Colorado Rockies. With 4 games to go, Raleigh has a chance to break the American League record of 62 set by Yankees star Aaron Judge in 2022. That's unbelievable. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Guardians have pulled off the improbable. The Guardians are the first major league team to overcome a 15.5-game deficit and take the lead in division or league play. Cleveland was 8 games under 500 and trailed Detroit by that large margin back in early July. They now have a 1-game lead over Detroit with 4 games to play. How about that? Point 2. I said we would talk about this more this hour. The Seattle Seahawks are in Arizona tonight on Thursday Night Football, kicking off Week 4 in the NFL. The NFC West rivals each sit at 2-1. Now, let me say this. Nobody in my circles that I've heard is talking about this game. And it's a bit of an insult to the Cardinals and Seahawks, 2 great NFC West franchises. Well, Seahawks for sure. What they are talking about is the Sunday night game in Week 4. It's like the biggest game. The Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. And Kevin, the medium, was with us last hour, so I didn't go too far down this road. But I'll be with Brent from Wellington, Florida, watching Sunday night's game. He's a Packers fan. I'm the Cowboys fan. Jerry Jones has already come out and said there will not be a welcome back video for Micah Parsons, even though he spent 4 Pro Bowl seasons with the Cowboys. Got in a contract dispute with Jerry in the fall, then into training camp, which led to him being dealt. So Micah Parsons was asked about coming back to Dallas and the fact that Jerry said there would be no video. He goes, I don't care. Of all the, I'm paraphrasing, but I heard the clip this morning on Pro Football Talk. Micah says, of all the insulting things that Jerry Jones has done to me this year, that's very low down the list. I'm with a good team now, and my video will be going, my return video, tribute video will be going in there and winning on Sunday night. And somebody said, have you talked to Jerry since he got traded? He goes, I haven't talked to Jerry since the OTAs. He didn't tell me that I got traded. Didn't talk to him at all. And that's just so you know, I think people are starting to get a kick out of picking the wound that is me being a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's a lot easier for me to cover the CFL, the NHL, because I don't have a team. It doesn't cloud my vision. I can make picks very clearly. But when it comes to the Cowboys, I'm just upset. I'm just upset at how it's being run. Because here's Jerry on Tuesday saying, we like Micah Parsons a lot. I'm very fond of Micah. You know, I want them all, wish him all the success in the world, just not Sunday night. And meanwhile, he's kicking him in the shins in the dark, and nobody knows about it. But he's telling everybody how much he loves them. There's a word for guys like that. And the people that watch the Netflix series, oh, Jerry comes across as such a great guy. No, sure, when the cameras are on. Anyways, we made our CFL picks for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Pump Jack's Cathedral in Regina, Pump Jack's Weyburn. The games this week are Calgary at Montreal. I picked the Alouettes to win. They're unbeaten in 5 against the Stampeders. Toronto at BC. Kevin, the medium, and I both picked the Lions. That should be a doozy, and I voted for that for Game of the Week. Saturday, Hamilton at Winnipeg. The Ticats clinch a playoff berth with a win, and an Argos lost the night before. We both got Hamilton to win at Winnipeg. And then Sask at Edmonton. I'll tell you what, I think the Riders will roll. I picked Edmonton would have 5 wins all year. That's what they're sitting at right now. I don't think Edmonton wins another game. And if they lose this one, turn out the lights at Commonwealth Stadium. I would be very interested to see how many fans turn out at Commonwealth Stadium. It's such a special CFL city, Edmonton. They're just dying to cheer for their team. And there'll be a lot of Rider fans there on Saturday. That'll be a good one to watch. Rule and field changes in the CFL. I'll just maybe pause that for our next guest, Commissioner Stewart Johnston, coming up after the break. NHL preseason, Nils Höglander, Victor Mancini, and Philip Hedl all scored to help the Vancouver Canucks beat the Calgary Flames 3-1 in NHL preseason play last night in Abbotsford. Connor Zary scored Calgary's goal. Meanwhile, Luke Morrison and Ben Myers had a goal and an assist each as the Seattle Kraken defeated the Edmonton Oilers 4-1. Andrew Mangiapane replied for Edmonton in his Oilers preseason debut. Connor and Leon were held pointless. I mentioned I was talking to an agent last night. He said to me on the phone, do you think Mangiapane is going to have an impact for the Oilers? I'm like, no. And the agent's a very smart guy. He knows the answer to that. He's far smarter than me. But Connor and Leon, they're the turkey. A guy like Mangiapane is the asparagus, maybe the cranberries, the sides. I don't think he's going to be an impact guy. It's the preseason. Don't put any stock in anything that's going on right now. No, I'm just saying that. I know nobody's going to listen. The poll question today is brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Connect with thought leaders and industry experts through EMJ Marketing Speakers Bureau. Check them out at emjmarketing.com. The poll question is, what's the biggest story going into the NHL season? Is it the Florida Panthers three-peat? Is it Connor McDavid's last dance story? Or is it the Canadian drought, Canada's 1993 drought? I don't need to explain to you what that is. Or other. And running away with the poll, is it Connor McDavid's last season, last dance with the Edmonton Oilers? I'm not saying I believe that it is. I'm just saying, is that the biggest story? Sure seems to be. It's 1:11 Eastern. 11:11 Mountain. For those that celebrate and observe numerology like I do. Hour 2 is brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with a promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. They're not going to like that next week when we go to air across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Mike in Winnipeg writes in from Ice Time Sports. He says, Mangiapane, absolute stud. Going to have a monster year in E-Town. Well, that's the thing. Do you remember where he was last year? Washington. And we talked yesterday about the top 5, bottom 5 in the NHL. Would you have won money on a bet that the Washington Capitals finished second overall in the NHL last season? I would have lost that. I totally would have lost that bet. They didn't really do much in the playoffs, right? Winnipeg was number 1. I have the notes here. Winnipeg was number 1 last year. Washington number 2. Vegas number 3. I'm not saying he's a bad player, man. He was awesome for the Flames. He was awesome. When they were in the playoffs, Mangiapane was on the team. I'm just saying he can't hurt. Okay, but he's not an elite. Look at the salary. That's usually what tells you this. BC Eric writes in, he says, go Eskimos. You're a Lions fan. You're joking, right? That's just an affront to the name Elks. It has to be. Because as a BC Lions fan, you would not want Edmonton to beat Saskatchewan on Saturday. You want dirt thrown on the grave. Oh, yeah. Coach DeBuck, thank you. He says, if you come to the game tonight, Rod, it's at 6 at South Broward High School. Sideline pass. No, I'm coming, Coach. Thanks for that. I thought it was at 7:30. I was supposed to meet some guys on the 441 at Pasquale's Pizza. That's out. I'm coming to your game, Coach, against South Broward. I saw that. And I'll say it again, Coach. Did you see me say congratulations on being the Coach of the Week? The Dolphins Junior Coach of the Week? It's a big deal here in Florida high school football. Way to go, Coach. You really earned it Saturday night at Coconut Creek. As you know, I was there. John in Edmonton writes, and he says, I'm going to get used to the new rule changes in the CFL, but a lot of people are canceling their season tickets. Don't know. I'll say it again. No, they're not. Okay? They say that they're not. They say that they're going to cancel their season tickets. They're not. And anybody that's got some stones, anybody that's got a backbone is not responding to threats like that or any others for that matter. Producer Corey says, great. Now I've got the theme song for Pasquale's Kitchen Express stuck in my friggin' head. Thanks, Rob. You should come to Pasquale's sometime. Every kind of pizza they have. Chicago deep dish. They got thin crust. They got lasagna. They got it all. You can buy it by the slice. We do it different here in Florida. By the way, Hour 2 is brought to you in part by the Mad Greek. Speaking of pizza, from classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek. None of Pasquale's compares to the Mad Greek, trust me. Order online, pick up, or dine in at the madgreekeatery.com. By the way, the Western Dodge text line's open too, 902-518-3033. If you have questions or comments for the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Stewart Johnston, he is lined up and ready to join us next. We're live across the Game Plus television network, YouTube Live, podcast, of course, and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hour 2 of the RP Show is brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. Hey, we got the commissioner with us, Mr. Stewart Johnston. He likes to connect and inspire. I remember your opening news conference, Stewart, where you talked about those things. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been quiet. There hasn't been too much going on. I'm just kicking my feet up and relaxing.
Well, listen, congratulations on the rollout and the changes. I'm, by the way, for them, but I'm wondering now, 4 days in, the reaction. Did you expect this?
Well, we knew these were very significant changes. So without a doubt, we expected a reaction. And in the months of work that led to Monday, I'd say that the circle that was working on it, and then in talking with the clubs and so forth, reaction actually mirrored a lot of what we see, which is, wow, it's hard to digest. These are significant. And then when we walk through the logic and walk through why we're doing it, to expose this great Canadian game of ours in the best possible way, it actually turned more to excitement. So I see a little bit of that transition as people really think about what it is we're trying to achieve here. I think some of that logic is coming through.
Well, we do have some questions from the viewers because I asked for them. And one resounding question, and obviously I'm not going to pin you to the wall here, man. I wouldn't bring you into my house and kick you in the shins. But they say, how is this going to help sell tickets? I mean, is that the goal? And if so, how do you think that it will sell tickets?
I think that the most highlight-worthy plays in the sport of football are touchdowns. And this is going to create more touchdowns. It's going to create more opportunity to pass over the middle. It's going to allow offenses who are pinned deep to actually roam and go wherever they would like, instead of being blocked out of the far side of the field and being forced to stick to the short side of the field. And when we get more touchdowns, and yes, it will be fewer field goals. That trade-off works for us from an entertainment perspective, we think, in stadium, on broadcast, and through social.
It's funny, John in Regina writes in, he says, a commissioner that actually tries to make some changes. How dare he? You knew, because you're a lifelong CFL fan, that CFL fans don't like change. So you must have had an idea that the reaction would be what it's been.
Of course. And by the way, I'm a human being, so I understand change is uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. And most humans don't like change, no matter what the reasoning for it. And so that's the starting point. And then you add the passion of our CFL fans on top of that. And Rod, I think about my whole life as a CFL fan. There's been many times, especially where I grew up in Ottawa and here in the Toronto market, where I've been a defender, right? There's conversations where you have to feel like you're defending the CFL and you're defending how great it is because you believe in it so much, but then there's the naysayers. And I think I have built up scar tissue on that. So you have a quick reflex if you think something is, is someone attacking us? Is someone saying our game is not great? And it's a trigger for me, and I think it might be for a lot of people who kind of had to go through that. And so if anyone interprets this as, oh, something's broken, I get that reaction. I truly hope that as they think it through, as we talk it through, and I come on a show like this and we say, This is about actually taking our great game and exposing it in the best possible light. We are a 3-down, 65-yard wide, 12-player motion yard off league. And this is going to put us in the best possible light. And just to be clear, this is only step one of how are we going to elevate our whole league. We've got big growth plans for our league. These rules were step one. And I want to be super, super clear about this. There are no other steps with rules. The other steps have to do with our business. And we're excited about what we can bring to bear there.
Okay, I'm glad you went there. So now here's a fun question that I'll guarantee you did not get asked all week in all the interviews you've done. So you worked with Dave Randorf for a long time, so you know how passionate he is. So, and by the way, I knew you wouldn't have taken this job if you didn't love the CFL. That was an easy one for me. But Randorf chases me down in the press box in Sunrise, and he goes, "What do you think of Stewart Johnston when you got hired?" And I said, "Who cares what I've never met Stewart. What do you think about Stewart Johnston?" And you could just see how Randorf would do that, right? Because he's so animated. And he goes, "He's exactly what the CFL needs." That was from your old TSN buddy, Dave Randorf. And have you guys talked? Like, why would he say that?
Well, number one, your description of Dave and the live wire energy that he brings 24/7 is exactly bang on. And I miss that because I don't get to see him not nearly as often anymore. But he texted me after Monday, and it was a very, very lovely, excited text. And I think he and I worked together closely while he was involved with the CFL, certainly involved in everything else that was going on when he was at TSN. And we had a great working relationship, and I want to say we have a friendship.
He's such an unbelievably great guy, and and he texted me this week about the changes too. Can we be your Florida CFL ambassadors? He's up there in Tampa. I'm down here in South Florida. Can we be your CFL Florida ambassadors?
You are hired. I will take all the ambassadors I can get.
Yeah, well, and I guess, it's funny you say that. I know we got to let you go here before long, but you said that was step one. When do we expect to hear step two? I feel like you're ready to cool off for a while after this week.
I think we'll cool off for a bit and let everyone kind of absorb and discuss. But our plans are from here through Grey Cup, and then post Grey Cup is there. And I'll say that maybe any other announcement is going to be press conference worthy. But they'll be big and they'll be small and they'll be exciting and they will cover the full gamut of football other than rules. It'll be everything to do with football in our country and the CFL, obviously most specifically.
I know they're going to yank you right out of here at the bottom of the hour, so don't be afraid. When you got to go, I'll let you go right at 1:30 because there's a million questions here. They're asking about the exciting finishes going the way of the dodo. Have you watched NFL last week? They all went down to the last, or a lot of them did. They're talking about missed field goal returns and will they be gone? I guess you're answering these all week. These same questions they have are what you're talking about every day.
Absolutely, and they're great questions. I think that on the 3 minutes, I have asked for patience because we want to make sure that all these benefits we know we're going to achieve with an automatic 35-second reset, with consistency of game flow, an expectation from coaches and players and fans and broadcasters of how long it actually takes from dead ball to snap. They are going to improve our game. However, we also know there's a knock-on effect to the last 3 minutes. And all of us, all Canadian Football League fans love comebacks. And we are known for them as a league. And so we are gathering our rules committee, and this will happen probably after the new year. And I think we've already got a number of creative ideas on how to make sure the ability to come back remains.
Without prying, I hope, how far has this been in the hopper? Because it kind of came out of nowhere. Felt like it did. Anyway.
We've been working on this all summer. It's been a key group of people that included our football ops group team, who made up of a lot of ex-football players, and it's our marketing and most importantly our data and stats group working through it, and then ultimately talking to all the governors and saying, hey, this is what we've got. And the first reaction is maybe similar to everybody's first reaction. It's a bit of wide-eyed, oh my God. And then we talk through the logic of what we're trying to achieve and how it's going to make our great game even better. And everyone has turned and got so excited by it.
I agree. I think I'm with you on that change thing. I mean, nobody saw it coming, A. B, they don't like change. But, I mean, you know of me a long time. I'm a no BS guy, and I've been calling for these changes for years. So I'm going to tell you right now, you got my backing. So whatever you need, I have. No, I'm serious, man. Wally said it a few years ago. He's like, the league's gotten stale, and people just swept that under the rug because Wally said it, right? Nobody would jump on Wally, but he was basically saying some change was needed, and here we are. So
here we are, and please know that the passion of our fans who've been with us for sometimes decades drives our whole league. And so if people react with discomfort or even stronger emotions and fear of what's coming next, that's real. Those are real things, and I don't take those for granted. Yes, for sure, we've seen that we've created a lot of attention. Now, I didn't quite want it like this specifically, but it's been a lot of attention on the league. So when Wally Bono says it's gotten a little stale, well, we're not stale now, but that doesn't take away that people are nervous. And I want to be, as clear as I can, Rod, that nothing was done with the intention of Americanizing our game, and there is zero thought process to touching what I believe are the absolute critical rules of the Canadian Football League: 3 down, 65 yards, 12 players, motion, all of those that drive the excitement of our game. We just want to expose it the best we possibly can.
Well said. Great way to end it. You know where to find me if you need anything. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. We'll let you go. Appreciate the time.
I appreciate it, Rod. Thank you.
The Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Stewart Johnston. And Hagon and Ken in Mississauga writes in, he says, the video examples in Stewart Johnston's address were well done. You can exit out of that, Stewart. You go ahead. Just hit the X in the top. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. And I think we got most of the comments and there we go. We got the smiling photo of Stewart Johnston. We're going to be joined by one of our football pundits here in seconds, Joe Gunnis. Hang on, from the Ratio podcast. Joe's going to be logging in here in seconds, I believe. Yeah. He's got the login, does he not? We're going to be joined by Joe Gunnis here in seconds. He has not attempted to log in yet. Hang on. Well, I'll read the comments here from the viewers, and I wonder if he's got the appropriate link. Hang on. There we go. Sent it to him. Either way, we can do 7 minutes, just me and the viewers, with a nice shot of the Commissioner Stewart Johnston. Couldn't have been better. 902-518-3033. Gary writes in. I'm actually not even going to read your comments, Gary. What did you want? You want me to rant and rave and shake my fist and say, I'm going to burn my season ticket? What did you want me to ask the guy? Rich in Edmonton wrote in, says, Rod just stated he's on board with the changes, so why would he grill him about it? These guys, this guy, Dano, Corey, do me a favor and kick him out. I don't even want him watching this show at all. I don't want him anywhere near this show. Kick him out. Block him, please and thanks. Troy in Toronto writes in. He says, any press is good press. The CFL is front and center, and that's a good thing. Carlos and, oh my God, I wish we could go to a break a little earlier here because, Dano's not saying the interview was bad. He's saying what's going on with the CFL is bad, but I don't like that talk either. He says, get ready for NFL light. He just made it very clear, the commissioner, that no more rule changes are coming. I wrote it down. He said, this is only step one, but maybe step two, there will be no rule changes. That from the commissioner. I can't believe what a bunch of jerks people are being over this. There he is. Hi, Joe, from the Ratio podcast. The famous Joe is here. Kevin the Medium writes it. He says, so you made changes without having a plan on how to implement them? Wow, just wow. Well, that's from Kevin the Medium. Kevin gets a pass from me. But as far you just watched the interview, Joe, from the Ratio podcast. Number one, I appreciate the freshness and honesty from the commissioner, basically that he's had better weeks. I don't think he expected this amount of negativity from CFL fans. What was your take of the interview?
I thought it was a great interview. I think he laid out where he wanted to go and how he wants to get there and why. And I think he's extremely right. And people got to realize and look at why the changes are being made, etc. Much like your comments from yesterday, not all change is bad. We don't like it. None of us like it. But at the end of the day, things have to change. Things have to evolve. That's just the way life goes. Not just in sports.
I am well, you know me better than anybody else on earth. You can tell, and we've talked about this week about the reaction from people. How do you feel about the reaction of people? Like, not only are people upset, they're saying personal things about the commissioner. Now they're saying things about me. Like, what the hell is wrong with people? And by the way, before we go any further on that, when Wally Buono said the CFL was stale, it was about 4 to 5 years ago at the Regina Thunder Bank when I was in the room. I was still living in Regina. So that was before the league made the 9 rule tweaks about 3 years ago. That's got it to where it is now. I think the commissioner is right. The game isn't stale now, but they tried to advance it. But anyways, as far as the reaction goes, Kevin and I talked about this an hour ago. I'm not sure if you were watching. There's nothing they could have done at all that would have not have upset people and had them threatening to cancel their season tickets.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to take a deep breath here and just look at, why are these things being proposed? Why are these things being put forward? But I mean, to attack a guy personally who is doing his job, who's trying to, figure out the next steps for the CFL and evolution, and to attack him or to cancel your season tickets or to get carried away, doesn't make any sense. My thing is if you have that much passion, right? And I'm a traditionalist too. I don't want to see things get totally blown up. But at the end of the day, put your passion into being part of the solution instead of being ridiculous.
Chris is watching in Vancouver. He says, wait for phase 2 and 3, and we are going to be getting a new TV contract negotiation. I believe there is a long-term plan. Colin in Ottawa writes in, he says, I appreciate the commissioner coming on to an independent, non-TSN broadcasting platform. Obviously, so do we. JJ writes in, he says, why are you so protective, Rod? I would ask, protective of what? He says, lifetime supporters have valid concerns. You're shocked about people being critical of major fundamental changes? So not like you? I think it's just the people that are being resistant to change. And the one thing is, JJ's a lifelong Saskatchewan guy. A lot of people don't see outside the province. They don't. That the league is in need of some spiffing up on the business side. I get that the product's fantastic. But, I mean, how would you relate to that, Joe, that people are so upset about the fundamental change? He's not wrong. I don't think, JJ, you're not calling people out personally, but there are those there. I'm not talking about you, JJ. It's the people that are making threats and saying these things. I mean, how would you address that, Joe?
Well, there's nothing wrong with being critical or having your opinion. And I think you need to examine all sides and come from the place of knowledge and say, what are these changes going to do for the CFL? Or what could they do for the CFL? Is it going to be a better game to watch? That remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, I mean, again, to attack somebody personally just doesn't make any sense. So critical is one thing, but ridiculous is another. That's just my opinion.
Ken in Mississauga writes in, he says, I appreciate the work you guys did to have him on here. Well, by the way, it was Joe that got him on. So there's kudos to the person that made it happen. Joe did, as our business manager and semi-guest booker. Joshua writes in from South Florida. He says, what's going on, Rod? You jumped in at the right time, Josh. Bye, Joe. Great job. I'm going to address all you assholes when we come back right after this.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Boy, you're going to love that. I know I'm going to love this, and that's the main thing because it is the RP show. BC Eric writes in, he goes, deep breath, RP, you got this. Dude, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. But it's where I was at was dealing with these negative numpty CFL fans that I haven't had to deal with for quite some time. And they're going to write in here or Twitter, because they've taken to Twitter already, anonymously and talk about my integrity. Okay. Interviewing the commissioner of a professional football league, the Canadian Football League, and from an anonymous account, they're going to question and say, I don't have balls. That's all. I don't put up with that stuff anymore. So goodbye. Yeah, that used to get me wound up. It doesn't anymore. And so the guy says, you didn't even ask about grassroots football. Number one, I'm not the voice of grassroots football. And number two, grassroots football is all playing 4-down football in Canada. Why don't you go bitch at them? So more than anything, Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, I respect the commissioner for being out front and letting the CFL public give him feedback. He's handled it like a complete pro. Don't like the changes, then go find something else to do, which they won't. They just want to bitch, and I don't have time for bitching. Well, Greg with 2 G's writes in and he says, these changes aren't going to make the game less exciting. Not sure what people are going on about. Again, they just want to complain. You know, Scruffy said it here the other day. All the bitching about the baseball rules that came in, it was pretty loud at the time. A few years later, everybody says, specifically the pitch clock, but some of the others, best thing they've done in 100 years. So can we at least wait to see? I can't imagine what it's been like to be in Stewart Johnston's shoes. Absolutely no. I'm just sitting there watching it and cringing. So all I'm saying is, what did you think? Man, you guys don't understand how the media world's changed. Are you calling out all the other people that interviewed Stewart Johnston this week for not asking your pissy-ass questions? Well, maybe you are. I don't know. I'm not paying attention. But when you've got a pro football commissioner come on your show, you don't. You used to. 20 years ago, we did. You don't anymore. Because when you do, you don't get them again. So that's the one thing with the Canadian Football League. Yeah, we work great. But as you see, I'm here independently doing my own thing for that reason. Here in Florida, working with the Panthers, working with the Lightning, doing the NFL coverage that we do, I don't mind cozying up to those guys. It's very clear, by the way, when you talk to the longtime reporters here, how it's changed. The whole idea of being in the media now is be positive, be supportive, or your credentials are pulled. End of story. So what Gary thinks or Alessandro thinks or any of these numpties, I don't care because I don't even know who you are, is kind of the bottom line here. And I don't care either. You're not paying me. Joshua in South Florida says, I agree with Rod. Hey, I get it all the time. Lessons from the microphone. Bro, thanks for reminding me to throw that out, Josh. I was just looking at it the other day. The Toronto Blue Jays, sports update, the Toronto Blue Jays will try to avoid a sweep against the Boston Red Sox after losing their grip on first place in the American League East. The Jays are tied with the Yankees atop the division after an ugly 7-1 loss to the Bo Sox last night. Toronto's clinched the playoff spot already. Playoff tickets went on sale this morning. The surging Yankees aim for their 5th win in a row in a series sweep against the Chicago White Sox. Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs in yesterday's 8-1 victory, lifting his season total to 51. New York needs to leapfrog Toronto to claim first. The Maple Leafs visit the Montreal Canadiens tonight in a 3rd preseason game for both. Montreal is undefeated with wins over Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Toronto earned 1 win and an overtime loss against Ottawa. And it's an NFC West matchup on Thursday Night Football. The Arizona Cardinals host the Seattle Seahawks after narrowly losing 16-15 against San Francisco on Sunday. The sports update is for UFZ Moose Jaw. Dress like a fan, not a spectator. Ultimate Fan Zone Moose Jaw has everything you need. Jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more. Start shopping now at ultimatefanzone.ca. That's where I got about 95% of my stuff. Overtime's coming up, everybody. I guarantee it'll be just as entertaining right after this here on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and
and
Alateen
Alateen
can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, welcome back. JJ, thank you, bro. He has written in, because I said he had a trouble seeing outside the Saskatchewan vacuum. JJ says, Rod, I travel nationally and internationally for a living. The CFL's problem has never been a boring product. It's been marketing, promotions, and cash flow. No, for sure. I'm going to sit here for Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, our good friends Randy and Michelle. Check them out. It's an amusement park for hockey players. That's what it is. That's my term, not theirs. Theirs is where skill and fun collide. I think they both work. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. BW writes in and says, incredible involvement from the texters. Well, here's the thing. Well, Arlen Bruce, two-time Grey Cup champion, writes in. He says, RP, keep doing your thing. You got my support for life. How is someone going to come on your show and talk disrespectful? Some people need a good bar of soap inserted into their mouths. Can you imagine if we did that? But here's the thing. So me and Randorf are going to be the CFL ambassadors in Florida. Do you not think it would be a pretty good idea to get along with a commissioner? I don't know. Probably be a pretty good place to start. What do you think? Right? Yeah, I'm going to bring him in here and grill the guy. I'm just a fan like everybody else. From the audience. Laverne in Swift Current writes, and he says, ARP, not all CFL fans are upset with the change, and the commissioner, something has to be done. And that's the other thing with the idiots. When I was the voice of the riders, I had to put up with it. I had to actually go along with it, and in some cases appease them because they were paying my salary. In this case, I'm not putting up with their shit. These guys are off kilter, imbalanced, and I'm not putting up with it. So goodbye. If you don't want to watch the show, please don't. You're not wanted. Richard in Regina writes, and he says, great interview with the CFL Commissioner, Roddy. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you. Kirk in Toronto writes, and he says, hey, Rod, MLSC is front and center in all of this for sure. That organization is NFL-centric. Here's the thing. There might be more going on than you all know. What do we think the chances are of that? Darren in Melfort writes in, Commissioner must have big balls to make these changes, so all the power to him. You shouldn't be surprised at the reactions you're getting. Beer is good, God is great, and people are crazy. Just like the song says, have a great day and thanks for the entertainment. Billy Currington, one of my favorite songs right there. God is great, beer is good, people are crazy. Speaking of quotes, Kenny in Vancouver writes in with the anti that. He says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Love the show today, Rod. And the courage to accept the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. I'll see you that and raise you the finale to the prayer. I pray a lot. It works. Graham in Calgary writes in. He says, when I was in politics and dealt with opposing views, I often had to remind myself that we all want the same thing, but disagree how to get there. People being inappropriate aside, isn't it amazing to see how many people are passionate for the league? Maybe I am being glass half full right now. I've said this for years. I don't understand, man. I said think of it as the destination. We all know where we're driving to. We can't all agree on how to get there. Well, who's behind the wheel? Stewart Johnston is behind the wheel. So he'll decide with the assistance and guidance, I would suggest, of the owners. They're the GPS in this conversation. But the whole idea that the fans felt that they should be consulted or the coaches and players felt that they could be consulted, yeah, maybe you should have, but it just doesn't work that way. It never works that way. That's not life. And we follow the NHL pretty closely, and even the NFL actually they sent a list. There was like 30 rule changes in the NFL this year. They were subtle, far more subtle than this, but nothing was said about it. I swear to God, it's a CFL thing. And having said all that, what did we talk about with Jim Barker? Well, I don't know if it was on the air or off. I had suggested that a CFL channel on satellite radio would be a great thing. And he agreed. I mean, I would love to sit and do 2 hours a day on the CFL, but the thing is, I'd starve. So there's that. So unless the CFL owned it and was the boss, I don't know. It would be very difficult to do. I could certainly do it. It would be fun, but can't do it alone. Carlos in Indianapolis says, bring on Football Friday. Oh, yeah. Jim Barker will have a lot of thoughts on this. I was texting back and forth with Jim on the weekend about what could this announcement be on the announcement. Jeff in Yorkton, I will advise you to just worry about today. He says the Grey Cup Commissioner State of the Nation is going to be exciting this year at Grey Cup. Oh, boy. I am Navarez writes in. He says, picture a 7-team or 9 for that matter, NHL Canadian League. How exciting would that be? The CFL needs to grow. I've been the proponent of CFL expansion into the USA ever since it stopped in the 90s. And everybody gets mad about that, right? The flat earthers. Yeah, so it's kind of nice to see that the CFL is finally coming around to my way of thinking. I mean, eventually everybody does. I swear, man, I'm going to be like Hemingway. Be long dead and gone by God knows what means. And they'll be saying, that guy was a genius. That guy was a freaking genius. And we ran him out of town. We ran him off the face of the globe. That guy was decades ahead of his time. That's where we're going. Okay, Football Friday tomorrow with Kevin the Medium. Thanks for his involvement today. And thank you, of course, to the Commissioner, Stewart Johnston. And thanks to those for the nice comments. And for those that didn't, they can go to hell. See you tomorrow. Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?